That's it. Let's get started. Thank you. Okay, our first presenter this afternoon is Kyle Coutray, and he's going to talk about the NERV. So welcome, Kyle.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Coutray. You can see it right there. And this summer, at my lab at Vanderbilt, I was faced with a challenge. So as modern neuroscience experiments are evolving, at least in our lab, we're integrating new hardware, we're expanding tasks into 3D and virtual reality, and we need to develop faster than ever. So my job, I was hired on to build a system to make this possible. And I call this system NERV. It sounds pretty cool. So the Neuroscience Experimental Runtime for Vanderbilt is a comprehensive framework for rapid, reproducible, and hardware-synchronized neuroscience experiment design. In normal words, that means a platform to build and run game-based experiments for exploring functions of the brain. The functions my lab focused on was something called working memory. Now, working memory is best described by my professor as the ability to maintain and manipulate information in the conscious mind over a timescale of seconds. So the way that we do that in our lab is by a series of very simple games, where you'll be shown a stimulus that you have to remember, there'll be a delay with some sort of logic, and then you have to make a correct selection. Now, all of you guys have probably played this simple game before that uses that. It's called Simon, where you have to remember the color and the location that it was, and then repeat that in the correct sequence. Now, for our games, in the NERV system, our stimuli look a little different. This is called a quaddle. These are also quaddles. But for the games I'm going to be showing you guys, these are the quaddles we'll be using. So with the quaddles, and along with the NERV framework that I'm about to describe to you guys, I have created a series of games, as you can see here. Now, if it keeps playing. Now, these games are all designed in a way to evaluate a different type of working memory. But the games don't always look this cool. Most of the games before I developed NERV look like this. A simple black background with a white stimulus, simple delays, pretty boring. It was boring to the monkeys too. That was actually a problem, where they would fall asleep during it. So the development for it is equally as boring. If you've ever used MATLAB, MATLAB is not a game development engine. So this is typically what it would look like. And it requires you have to be a professional in the psych toolbox, which is a degraded toolbox for development. On top of that, all the tools that you would need for modern neuroscience experiments would take many weeks for someone who's already in the lab and already has experience developing with MATLAB, up to 6 weeks to even get something close to experiment ready. I didn't make that up for the next slides. I asked on Slack some of my coworkers, not just trying to make it look good. But NERV does this a little bit differently. The way to make these games is 3 simple steps. The first step is a series of form-based graphical tools where you just input the name of the game or the name of the state. You hit checkbox if it's going to be a stimulus, a delay, a choice. And then you use 3 tools that I created. Now, these tools are responsible for automatically generating all the code that you need to get an up and running prototype in a matter of minutes. It holds all the trial logic as well. And then after that, all you have to do is press play. So this will get you an up and running task with stimuli, feedback, and scoring already. And if you need a more complicated game like the ones I'm going to show you later, all you have to do is just edit one script, one code, and everything is all condensed. Now, I think we can agree that those couple pain points that I was talking about, like the steep learning curve and the heavy code, are solved with NERV, and that's why, like I said, it's being used at Vanderbilt right now and their adjacent medical center for human and non-human primates. Additionally, with that, NERV is able to not only record all the behavioral log data, but it also has a lot of data provenance features, such as taking screenshots of every single state that's shown, so experimenters later know what they're looking at. There's extra functions to incorporate all of our hardware that we need, like infrared-based eye tracking and reward pumps for when the monkeys get juiced and they get the correct answer. And also a pretty cool-looking experimenter screen. So the experimenter has a second monitor where they can view what's happening in real time, change attributes of the game, and conduct the experiment that way. But in order, now that we know what NERV is and how to build games with that, we need to make sure that it's actually valid for neuroscience experiment design. So our biggest issue is making sure that when the code executes, we have a consistent delay from when the stimulus is supposed to show up and when it actually shows up on the screen. So we have a little photodiode you can see right there that's responsible for recording the exact moment those pixels flash, and then at the same time we're sending an electrical pulse to a recording system. We then take the delay of that and we look at the standard deviation of less than a millisecond of delay in that little red box with the black bulb that we're interested in. And this is huge. This allows for really easy data analysis later to be able to align all the events of the game with the brain imaging data. So we're going to end this little thing with a little exercise. And for this to work, I'm going to need everybody to be on the same page. We're going to need to focus here. Everyone, for the next couple minutes, is going to be this monkey. So this is a rhesus macaque. These are the monkeys that we use in the lab. And you're going to be a special monkey because you are completing a working memory task in the nerve system to help slow cognitive decline, specifically dementia for diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So to do that, we're going to be playing one of the 5 games here that I've created with the nerve system. But since you're monkeys, I'm going to choose for you. We're going to play the coolest one. So it's a 3D rule adaptive match. There's 3 phases to this game. You're going to be shown one of those quaddles that I was talking about in the middle of the screen. And then we're going to walk down a hallway together. Halfway down the hallway, you're going to get a flash. It'll either be blue or orange. If it's blue, when you get to the choice stage, you have to walk down the hallway that has the same quaddle you were just shown. If it's orange, you've got to walk down the opposite one. All right, are we ready? The next slide starts it. So here we go. You're going to remember this. And we're going to walk down the hallway. Now that little red cursor would be the eye position of the monkey. And then we get to the flash right about here. It's blue. So hopefully you remember what blue means. And then we get to the choice. So, yeah, I was going to say, by a show of hands, who thinks left? Who thinks right? There we go. So you'll see, as we walk down, it's going to flash green, and that would mean that all of you guys are getting a little bit of juice for your efforts. So, yeah, and just like that, you guys are very smart monkeys. I'll go ahead and give yourselves a round of applause for doing that. And that's all I have for you. So if you have any questions for me, email's there. If you want to play the games, you can go to nerveframework.com, or there's a QR code. So yeah, pretty cool. But that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kyle. Way to get everybody engaged. All right. Who has one question for Kyle? Andy's back. Thank you.
I'm back.
One question for Kyle. Who's got one? Thank you.
How do you explain to the monkey, like, when you see a green flash or a blue flash, like?
Yeah, so it takes a really long time. Like,
how do they figure that out?
Some monkeys are smarter than others. They get it in like a couple months, but other ones it takes a lot longer. So these games, we're just implementing them now. So we have monkeys that are just now learning the games. We had simpler games. They're not playing the 3D ones yet because we're going to kind of wean them into this system because it's a lot different than the black and white than they've seen previously. So yeah.
Okay, now you can sit down.
Cool.
Thank you. Thanks, Kyle.